Page 3, Activity B. Erase the chemical formulas in each text box. Go back up to your text box, delete your chemicals, hit enter, and it should delete everything that's in there. Alright, introduction. In a chemical reaction, the reactants are the substance that enter into the reaction, and the products are the substance that are made in the reaction. A chemical reaction is balanced if the numbers of the reactant atoms match the numbers of the product atoms. So what they're saying is if you're thinking about baking a cake, your ingredients such as your flour, egg, milk, butter are your reactants. Well, the cake is the product. That's what's made at the end of your reaction. Both those numbers, the subscripts and the coefficients, when you add them together, need to be the same to have a balanced chemical equation. Observe. To model how hydrogen and oxygen react, make water type H2O2 in the reactants box and H2O in the products box. H2 plus O2 and H2O. Keep on hitting that wrong. Alright. Is the equation, as the equation is written, which element is not in balance? So they're asking, is the hydrogen not in balance, or is the oxygen not in balance? And then write your explanation. How do you know that it's not balanced? To balance a chemical equation, you are not allowed to change the number formulas of the substance involved in the reaction. You are allowed to change the number of molecules of each substance by adding the coefficients in the front of the formulas. That is kind of wordy. What they're trying to say is in your chemical reaction, when you see H2, the letter and the subscript, you're not allowed to change the letter and the subscript, but you are allowed to put numbers in front of the letters such as the coefficients. I'll explain that as I go. To balance the oxygen atoms, add 2 in front of H2O in the products box. How many oxygen atoms are found on each side of the equation now? So you go and you add a coefficient 2 in front of H2O. So you are allowed to change the 2 in front of H2O, but we leave the second 2 alone because that is a subscript. Now, are the oxygen atoms balanced? Again, you're writing the 2 in the product side. So how many hydrogen atoms are found on each side now? To balance the hydrogen atoms, add 2 in front of H2 in the reactants box. How many hydrogen atoms are found on each side of the equation now? So you go to the reactant side on the left. You're allowed to change the 2 here and hit enter. Count up how many hydrogen atoms and write that in B. 2C. Is this equation currently imbalanced? Click Show Balance to check. You go down here to the bottom box and it shows if it's correct, there'll be a green check mark. But if we have it wrong, it'll show an X. Apply. Now enter a more complex reaction. CA parentheses OH parentheses 2. HBr, and the products are Ca, Br2, and H2O. I would copy this, Control C, delete your old reaction, paste it in, hit enter. Oops, forgot this part. Control C. And then the second part, the products. So then 3A, which elements are out of balance? So go back to your chemical equation, look at which ones are not balanced. So you have your Br, Ca, H, and O. So bromine, calcium, hydrogen, and oxygen. Which one of those are not balanced? Write them, just the chemical symbols there. Add coefficients to balance the first bromine, then the hydrogen atoms. When the equation is balanced, write the complete formula below. We accidentally skipped this part in 3 at the top. They want you to write for calcium up here in this first box. How many calciums do we see? And then in the second box for oxygen, how many oxygens are here? How many hydrogens and bromines? So you write that for the reactants, and then on the right side over here you write that for the products. Now this is where it gets difficult and you need to kind of guess and check. So I'll try to walk through it with you a little bit. So for the bromine, this has 1 and this has 2. So we can't put a subscript 2 afterwards. We can't do the subscript, all right? But we can go in front of the hydrogen and put a 2 here. If we put a 2, a coefficient right here on the left side, now we have the 2 to the hydrogen. So now we have 2 hydrogens on the left, and now we have 2 extra hydrogens also because of the left side. Now the bromines are balanced on the left and right. However, our hydrogens are now out of balance. You kind of want to balance your hydrogens last and your oxygens last. So we have a total of 4 hydrogens. Well, if we go to the right side in the products and we add a 2 in front of H2O, notice that we have now 1, 2, 3, 4 hydrogens. The 2 multiplies to the hydrogen, and so 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times the oxygen is 2 oxygens. If we look at it, it looks balanced. We can always check at the bottom to see if we're right. If we didn't have the 2 in the product side, oops, let me hit enter first, it will show that it's wrong. But after we add the 2, it turns right. So you write this chemical reaction in 3B.